Your vehicle is not like that.
Sit up.
No.
You sit up. Get on the ground.
No. See, sir. No.
Welcome back to Internal Affairs, a police podcast here with the IA guy. Bringing you another breakdown that's going to be on and cracking. So check this out. Let me set up the stage for you. So what we have is a 71-year-old man who basically conducted an improper U-turn on a major highway. And what ends up happening is the Oklahoma City PD officer responds to conduct a traffic investigation. So we're taking you to the wonderful state of Oklahoma in Oklahoma City, and this is what happened. Take a look.
The way that your vehicle was located, I'll have to write you a ticket for improper U-turn. Whenever you complete a U-turn,
I didn't U-turn.
hold on. I am not writing a ticket.
You see the evidence? No.
Okay. I don't think that you're understanding what I'm saying here, okay?
I understand. I told you.
You were not allowed to go side by side next to a car. Okay? You have to go behind vehicles.
Hey, you are the police.
Yes.
So you know
Okay.
how many cars?
We are done, sir. No, we're done arguing about this, okay?
I don't think so.
We are not We are not arguing about this, okay?
I want to show you.
We argue in court. We argue in court.
You take the phone and
We argue in court.
no,
We don't argue on the side of the road. We argue in court. Yes, that's how it works. Because if not, if you don't sign this, you go to jail. Okay?
Yeah,
I don't
go
want to take you to jail.
I'm ready to go to
You ready to go to jail?
Yeah, I'm
Ridiculous. You're not supposed to leave any space at all.
You see that two car?
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do.
I am the top
The way
car.
where
I'm the
your
top
vehicle
car.
was located, your
Top
vehicle
car.
is not like that.
Sit up.
No.
You sit up. Get on the ground.
No. See, sir. No. Cho anh em lần. Anh đánh nó, đánh lại. I need the ambulance.
Yeah, I'm gonna call an ambulance.
Look at his head.
112 Hefner, roll me fire and incident of super.
Okay, Code 6 with my dude, Officer Trey, man.
What's the deal, man?
You're again.
Back again, run it back.
Let's run it back. Hey, drive wasn't that bad?
Nah, I was on a motorcycle today, so
Okay,
split
okay.
lanes, so it was good.
Okay, I hear you. Hey, man, look, interestingly enough, we've been talking about this before we started recording and wanted to break this down. Could you agree with me that you think it's super important to kind of educate people about this particular incident?
Of course, yeah, definitely.
Right? It's one of those incidents where, number one, it doesn't happen quite often.
Yeah, I don't think it's common at all.
Right. And so what I'm going to do is I am going to ask a little bit about your experience, but first things first, we can both agree that the use of force applied by the officer is set and done, and sometimes that happens.
Yeah, it does, yeah. Especially when in the heat of the moment, and feelings and emotions are real. Like, as an officer, you can't completely remove them. So maybe his feelings and emotions played a little bit of a role in this one. But nevertheless, I think his response on paper matches the use of force, I believe. But could it have been done differently? Absolutely. So
Right, which is the reasons why we're here. Look, all we're trying to do is just get some, some education, and perhaps, like maybe next time, perhaps you could have done this. And that's what's really important about doing these types of breakdowns. So first things first, look, let me pull up the use of force. And this is what I have. This is the Police Operations Manual from the City of Oklahoma City Police Department. So this is what it says. It says right off the bat, all physical responses, lethal or not, must be reasonably necessary based on the totality of circumstances.
That's
so
normal.
we both know
that's normal.
that's Hayes v. San Diego.
Yeah.
You take totality of circumstances into consideration. Look, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but what really stands out is, and here it is, the reasonableness of a particular physical response will be judged from the perspective of a reasonable officer on the scene. Right? So we can agree that, look, we're going to judge this, and put things in perspective. So here it goes. Here are the factors that you can take in consideration when you apply force. A, whether a person is posing an imminent threat to the safety of officers or others. Got it. B, whether a person is suspected of a crime. In this particular case, if we're going to go ahead and kind of determine that maybe this traffic violation is a misdemeanor crime.
Yeah, if that, I mean, the original reason, it may not even be a real crime, honestly.
Right, because he conducted an improper U-turn, they collided,
Yeah.
and that's that. So that doesn't really apply. The severity of the crime or problem at issue. So this is what you got to take in consideration when you apply force. Now, here's what's pertinent and similar to state of California. Whether the person is actively resisting arrest or attempting to evade arrest by flight. Well, there is no arrest.
No.
And there is no flight. Yeah. So that's out the window, right? And then last but not least, any suspected or obvious medical or mental conditions. Now, Trey, let me ask you this. Isn't there a part of the video that depicts whether there is this language barrier or maybe like a culture issue?
For sure. As he's speaking broken English, so he definitely doesn't speak good English.
Okay.
So,
and do you think at one point, well, let me ask you this in terms of just kind of, maybe we could have handled things different. I know at one point there's this back and forth going on.
Yeah.
I suppose he's getting frustrated because he's telling Mr. Boo, which by the way, the officer at the time that he's encountering Mr. Vu, he doesn't know that he's 71 years old.
Even then, I was like, how old does he look? It's like, I think anybody can see, I think this dude's very clear he's over 65. So
right.
I can't really give him benefit of doubt on that end of it. So
right. And so what ends up happening is he does this like taps.
Yeah.
He taps some, and I guess it describes it to be in between the
like on his chest area.
Chest area, right, between the body-worn camera and in his side of his ribs or whatever. And next thing you know, he does this motion like tap, tap, like be quiet.
Yeah, it was like it looked like the dude, the Asian guy, he did it out of malice a little bit. So to get his point across or whatever, maybe he was getting frustrated in the conversation. So like to defend the officer just a little bit, that's technically considered an assault, technically. Mm-hmm. But it's like, what level of assault is that to give the response that you gave?
Right. Well, let me ask you this. What other ways could an officer handle such a gesture? Because to me, it seems like Mr. Vu that's something that he always does.
That probably is regular for him. So in that situation, you just check the behavior. Like, dog, what are you doing? Like, back up. You know what I'm saying? Like, chill. What are you doing? Or you can kind of like give him like a stiff arm or arm bar. Like, yo, back up, bro. Like, don't do that to me.
Yeah, don't do that to me. You know what? Don't tell me to shut up.
Yeah.
Look, this is what I'm trying to tell you what happened. You're getting a citation, and that's that.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that would have been the more adequate way to do it. But I mean, different state. So over in Oklahoma, they're super pro law enforcement. So I think that they're able to do stuff like that over there. In California, you can kiss that goodbye. That response, no way. It'll never fly in Cali.
That's an automatic IA.
Yeah, you're cooked. If you do that, for sure. But I mean, like I said, technically his response on paper, I guess, was okay. And given the state that they're in, it's just different culture, different type of policing. It's completely different on the South, like in the South as compared to West Coast policing. So
yeah, and the other thing that I was thinking about also is that, let's share our sentiment to both the officer and Mr. Vu, because there really is there's no winning here.
Oh no, for sure.
The officer goes home and is completely stressed because one, which I was going to ask you, he's looking at possible criminal filings for like assault. What do you think about that?
For what's the Asian dude's name? I forgot his name.
Mr. Vu.
Mr. Vu. They trying to charge him with that?
No, they're trying to charge the officer for assault.
Oh, I mean, I was like, I'm in the air about that one. I guess like if I can see why that would turn into that.
Right. I would say something like you can see why they're even considering it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, because of his injuries, like if you look at the severity of what happened versus injuries, it's like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, the thing is that my understanding is part of the injuries is a brain bleed. That's one of the reports, the news article, and a neck fracture.
Yeah, dude, that's a lot, bro.
And he doesn't know that.
Yeah,
he probably doesn't know. Let me ask you this: we talk about disproportion.
Yeah,
of the amount of force necessary to gain compliance.
Yeah.
I know that sounds all great and all buzzwords, but just in layman's term for the civilians out there, what can the officers do different to try to get their point across? Because we both know that he's not affecting an arrest.
Yeah.
He's not preventing an escape.
Yeah, definitely not preventing an escape. I don't
Right.
believe.
And he's not overcoming any type of resistance.
Yeah.
Right. And you and I can agree. And for those of you watching and listening, is that when you apply force, and again, I don't want to get into this big old 835A because it's huge. There's a lot of language.
Yeah.
But just in basic general terms for the layman person to understand is those basic 3 types of descriptions is why you would apply force. What do you think?
You know, I agree. I think that in that situation, or at least what I normally do is I'm like, if he did that and you decided, okay, this dude's you're going for that. Like, I consider that to be an assault on me. So you're going to jail for that. You're getting arrested for that. You're getting cut for that. I would say, put your hands behind your back. Just simply say, see if they comply. If they don't, okay, then you grab and start to make him put his hands behind his back. And then if he still forces, okay, now you're going, if you're still tightening it up and tensing up, you're going to the ground, bro. We're not playing these games with you. So I just feel like you should have kind of gave him a chance to do it compliant, like do it without using any kind of force. But shit, he just went straight to it. So
Right. And then the other buzzword is de-escalation, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There is none. He just went straight to apply force to be able to, I suppose, to affect an arrest, for that matter. Before we wrap it up, let me ask you this. Have you had an experience with perhaps like a language barrier or a culture issue thus far in your
so
career?
I work in a Hispanic neighborhood, and I mean, I understand Spanish a little bit, and I've been in some situations where it has been some language barriers, not to where I had to use force, but definitely, and usually if it's like the kid there, a lot of time it's the kid that speaks Spanish, and I'm like, hey, bro, translate this for your parents until I can get one of my officers to get there. Because sometimes it's like, yo, this is happening now, and we don't have time to wait. Or if it's like, you know, you're hostile to somebody, you got your gun pointed at somebody, there ain't no time for pausing it. Yeah. So I know a little bit to like give commands in Spanish, but if it's coming down to it, then I just try to slow the situation down as much as I can to prevent things from turning into that. And a lot of the time utilizing the family members that are there, because a lot of the time there's some sort of family there that speaks English and can translate the language that they're speaking, whether it's a kid, wife, sister, brother, somebody else is there. So.
Yeah. And you can easily get frustrated.
Yeah, for sure.
Emotions could fly up high.
Yeah.
Totally. Hey, look, before we wrap it up, I just want to shout out to Oklahoma City PD to, you know what, hang in there, be strong. We're doing this just to be able to educate not so much law enforcement in general, but more than anything, the civilian population as well. Sometimes we don't understand, and sometimes we make decisions that perhaps does have consequences. Yep. And I'd be the first one to tell you from an internal affairs lens, if there is no criminal filings and they're dropped, we are looking at the IA. There could be some allegations. I can think of one in general would be while on duty, used unauthorized force, or unlawfully used force on such and such date with Mr. Vu. And chances are it's probably going to end up adjudicated as sustained. And then you have to do a really deep analysis and examination as to what proper penalty you should give the officer. But more than anything, it's all about lessons learned. That's why we have this show. And that's really about it from my end. Anything else you can think of?
No, not really. I think that it's a tough situation especially being an officer trying to critique these incidents. I feel like it can easily get treated as like bad criticism. So I just want to be real careful with that part.
Right. 1, 2, next thing you know, we're all painted.
Exactly.
With a broad brush.
Exactly.
So as of today, because it happened in Oklahoma City, all cops in California
all the same.
We're all the same, and we just throw people down
Yeah.
at a scene of a traffic investigation.
And even like the officer, I'm looking at him talk throughout the entire interaction. He wasn't like an asshole the whole time. Like, he was
Correct.
cool. So I just think that hit or whatever just pushed him over the edge. So I don't think this cop is necessarily a bad cop per se. I just think that his emotions probably got the best of him is the best way I can explain it.
Yeah, no, you know what? Accountability goes far with the officer, with the department, with all stakeholders as it relates to this particular incident. But more important than anything, it's hopefully it's some self-reflection and that you can actually learn. And perhaps that next time there is a situation similar to these circumstances, you know what? I can probably handle it differently.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, on that note, like always, please be safe out there and don't forget to go Code 6. Thank you.